Hey everybody, I'm Robert Donovan. Welcome to this episode of Tradecraft Solutions, and in this episode we are going to be adding a little more armament to this ship. I'm using a copy of an earlier version of this model, the one that I finished for you on the last tutorial is still there, and I've got the guns added, and we've added basically 3 different kinds of guns to this thing. We're going to start with these fancy things on the top and bottom here. I put 2 front and back on the bottom, and then 1 up here on the top, one version of those. And I have one other version of the guns here, plus of course the main guns in the front here. So we're going to start with this one on the bottom here because it's probably the most complicated to make. So that's the one we're going to start with. Let me select this thing here, and I'm going to go ahead and hide it again. There we go. And we've already got those guns. I'll show you how I put those in the ship in a minute. But the first thing we want to do here, let's do numpad 1. And let's go ahead and we're going to add a cube right where that cylinder is here. So Shift A, Mesh, Cube. And take this down here underneath. And I'm going to hit numpad/. And so we're looking at the front right now, which is fine. So we're going to go ahead and the first thing I want to do, we'll zoom out a little bit here. And the first thing I want to do is hit Tab to go into Edit mode, and I want to create a couple of loop cuts, so do Control-R, 2 loop cuts there. Double left click without moving the mouse, and then scale it in the X and Y only. So hit Scale, Shift-Z, 1.25, like that. Go back into Object mode, and with the object mode selected, hit, we're going to scale this in the X. Just go S to scale, X 2. And that gets you that. Back into edit mode here. We're going to add 5 vertical loop cuts. So Control R. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. And double left click without moving the mouse. From there, we're going to go ahead and hit A to deselect. And then Shift Alt right click. We're going to select all of these again. With individual origins selected, I'm going to do Scale X 0, straighten them all up, hit A to deselect again, and now I want to move these just a little bit here. So Shift Alt to select this one. Actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and apply the mirror modifier. Do Control Tab V, vertex mode, deselect everything, limit selection to visible off, and hit B to box select. We're going to select these vertices here, X, V, and then we're going to add the modifiers and add a mirror modifier. And I like to use the Adjust Edit Cage Modifier to Result button here. That's normally not turned on. And we're going to turn clipping on too. Okay, so we got this thing mirrored. Next thing we want to do is add some geometry. So let's go back to numpad 1, go into Edge Select mode here. And I want to move these loop cuts a little bit here. So Shift Alt right click, we'll select this one. Move this in just a bit there, or do I? Let's see, let's move this thing about 3 grid divisions from the corner there. Hit A to deselect, Shift Alt, right click this one here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this in one more like that. Then Control Tab F to go to face select mode, Shift Alt right click and select this loop of faces right there, and then extrude 0.8, extrude scale X 0.8, that's what we're looking for. And then you want to select that loop and that loop of faces right there. We'll turn this a little bit so we can see what we're doing. And then go extrude, scale, Shift X 0.4. Then go numpad 3 and then do a scale Y 0.8. Okay, let's go back to the front here and we want to hit A to deselect everything. And let's grab this loop of faces again. And we want to scale this down just a little bit, so scale Shift X 0.75. And then numpad 3, take these back faces here, we'll select these 3. Numpad 3 again, I'm going to move this in. And there's no set distance I have for that, just I want this front part jutting out more. All right, so let's go back here and go ahead and turn limit selection to visible back on there, makes this a little easier. There we are. Turn it back off because we see what I'm doing here. Numpad 3, and what I want to do is rotate this in the x-axis. Rotate X Okay, and that does not scratch bottom or come below the bottom of that outer face, so we've got it the right size. Okay, cool. Control Z to make that where we want it. All right, now the next thing we want to do is select these front faces here, numpad 3 again, and then pull this out until the vertical face just aligns with the front of that outer bit so that they're all lined up. Okay, and then with that, we're going to select, let's go ahead and turn limit visible back on. Select this, go I, enter, set this to 3 centimeters if it isn't already, and then scale, actually just do all 3 of them here, go I, enter, I insets the faces, enter locks it in. And now with that selected, change your orientation from global to normal, scale Y, hit Y again, 0.9, and then once again, scale Y, hit Y again, scale Y, hit Y again, 0.9, and enter or left click after each of those to lock them in. All right, with that, let's change our orientation back to global. Select all 3 of those faces, numpad 3, and I'm going to pull these out just a touch here, just like that. Okay? Now let's shift right click and deselect that face, numpad 3, and then extrude Y. What is that? 2.5 grid units there. All right, and then scale Y 0. Straighten those up. Let's line these up here. There we go. Okay, now next thing we want to do is we want to create these, it's mostly visual interest, but here you go. All right, do Control R, left click once, left click again, go to numpad 3, and then take this thing here and just move it back, and then do scale Y 0, straighten it up, and put this exactly even with that line there. Do the same thing on the bottom, scale Y 0. All right, now we want to add about, we want to have a total of 20 loop cuts here, so I'm going to do this. The easy way to do that, do Control R, double left click, and then come over here and make the number of cuts 19, because we're including that first cut in the count there. All right, go back down here, Control R, do the same thing. Control Tab F to go to face select mode, go down here. And I want to select every other loop of faces here, so, all right, hang on here. We're going to zoom in and get this a little better here. All right, try that again. And then again down here. All right, hit C for the paint select tool, get rid of those. Left click to lock that in, C to select the paint select tool, grab these, left click to lock that in. Numpad 1. Go down a little bit there. And now we're going to do, with the median point as our pivot point here, we'll do the individual origins. Extrude, scale, shift, Y, 1.15 like that. There we go. And now we're going to take the C tool again, the paint select tool, get rid of these, get rid of these, get rid of these, get rid of these. All right. With those there, we're going to go to the median point here, and then numpad 1, scale Z, hold the shift key down and make these things as even as you can get them. Close enough. All right, now next thing we want to do is grab underneath here and get all of these faces on all these inner bits here. A little tedious, I admit, but you can try this with the C tool, but you find it just as easy to do it this way. Ready, last thing. All right, numpad 1 again, and now with the median point selected, that'll be fine. And now we're going to extrude, scale Z, and then scale Z 0. Whoops, individual origins for that one. Try that again, scale Z 0, there we are. Now let's select this face right here, and I'm going to go ahead and scale that. Let's do extrude scale, shift Y, 0.6. Control Tab V to go to vertex mode. Select this vertex and this vertex. W, hit S to subdivide. Number of cuts 2. Do the same thing down here. W, S to subdivide. Number of cuts 2. And then select these inner vertices here, median point selected as your pivot point, and then scale Z 1.3. And let's do Control Tab F, select this face, and I'm going to scale this thing down in the Z. So scale Z 0.9, and then scale the whole thing 0.9 again, just to get it a little more manageable. All right, so now what we want to do is take all of these things here and all of these things here. Or actually, how do I want to do that here? Okay, hang on. Let's want them all on one side. Okay, now numpad 1, grab the X. Oops, oh, shit, deselect that one. Now grab the X. And move those in to they're about 3/4 of the way, the distance of that face in there. And now we're going to do the same thing over here. Numpad 1, move this like that. Okay, now we'll take our, doesn't really matter which one to do this with first, but hit C, deselect one of these, and then grab the opposite one. And then go to numpad 1. Now what we want to do is turn these things. So let's rotate this on the y-axis. Individual origins there. Sorry, keep forgetting to do that. Let's rotate this on the y-axis like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side, the other two. So we'll hit A to deselect. All right, numpad 1. And now we're going to rotate these the other direction. Select that face. Numpad 3. Zoom out and move this thing back a little bit. Extrude Y. Go just a little bit past these things here. Okay, and that has our coils going in like that. Now we're going to take this and we're going to do extrude scale 0.8. Turn limit selection visible back off. Go extrude Y like that. Okay, and that will get you, we'll go a little farther back on this thing. There. All right, and that's the gun. That's the tough part of that gun to do. Now the rest of this, I'm going to turn limit selection to visible back off, and I'm going to just go ahead and do a little bit of surface detail here. Let's start with these folks here on the top, numpad 1. First thing I'm going to do is we're going to knock these down a little bit so that they're just a touch higher than the top of the guns themselves. All right, now let's grab each of these. Well, we can leave them all grabbed. Let's just do an inset faces. And what do we have for the depth there? Let's make that thickness there 3 cm, like that. And then let's scale this thing in the Y, 0.8. And then just pull these up. About 1 grid unit is all you need there. And that's good enough. Just a little, a little something going on there. I suppose if you wanted to, you could do, let's do another extrude scale 0.9. Take it down just a touch. Extrude scale 0.9. And we'll do extrude scale 0.9 again. Left click. And then we're just going to pull this thing up. Some surface action going on there. So there we have that. On the top. Or actually, let's do this front piece here too. Let's just do extrude scale 0.9. In fact, Control Z will do extrude scale 0.8. A little bit bigger. Okay, good enough. Now grab Y, pull this out just a touch. Now extrude scale 0.9. Extrude scale 0.8. Hang on here. I wanted extrude scale 0.9. Miss the enter key, and then extrude scale 0.8 like that, and then we're just going to pull this in like so, like that. All right, now if we go to object mode, that's kind of what we've got going on there. Nothing fancy, but you get the idea. Last thing we got to do in object mode here is I need to create the swivel for this thing on the bottom. I'm just going to do a cylinder for that. right now we have the cursor at the selected, which is what you want, and we're going to do Shift-A mesh cylinder. All right, let's move it down along the Z-axis, and then scale it down. Do a numpad 1 so we make sure of the alignment. Now scale it in the Z-axis, and then just move it up like this, like so. Okay, so what do we have as far as modifiers applied here? Okay, I don't want this faceted look here, so I'm going to go shading smooth, and we're just going to do a simple edge split modifier here. Going to take the split angle down to 20. Going to do the same thing with this one, add an edge split modifier, split angle to 20, select this one, and apply the edge split modifier. Select this one, apply the edge split modifier, select this one again, hold the shift key down, select this one again, and then do Control J. And now they are one single object. All right. So now let's hit numpad / again. Takes us back to where our ship was. And I'm going to show you how you attach this, or how I attach this thing to the ship. Numpad 3. All right, here's a little gun. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, hit tab to go to edit mode. And what I did here, right back here near the engine, I did a little extrusion here. Just right down like that. And that's all I did, was I grabbed these two bits here, and I extruded Z, and went down just far enough where these guns could actually see below this engine hood there. And then I did a scale Y, grabbed these, did a extrude scale 0.8, just those, extrude scale 0.8, and then extruded Y, took these, extruded Y out like that. Might have wanted to go a little farther down on that, I think. Let's do that just a bit here. Okay, now Control numpad 1. We're going to do the same little trick we did. Go to Edge Select mode, grab this, like that, and you can actually make this a little smaller if you want to. It doesn't have to come straight down. So if you want to do that, you could. I'm not going to, just for this demonstration here. Do the same thing here with face select mode, extrude scale 0.9, and we could probably help ourselves tremendously by doing this. Do extrude Y. Going to get rid of the grid floor because it's kind of getting in my way. All right, hit A to deselect that. Edge select mode, numpad 1. Grab that edge. Like that. Go back to face select mode there. And what I'm just going to do here is just grab these faces. Extrude Y, so we've got a platform for these guns to be on. Do the same thing here, extrude Y. Actually move that one back a little bit. Now you take this, go Shift D again, because we're going to need a couple of these here. All right, so with that handled, we will now take this gun here, move this so we can see what I'm doing. Grab this one, move it up, move it over. Numpad 1. Okay, let's scale this thing down a little bit here. Like that. And there we are. And if I were going to do this really detailed, I'd have this thing where it extended out. And these guns would be deployed, where this thing basically comes down and then these things get deployed and they're shooting. But there you are. That's that. So let's go ahead and select this one. Select this. Oh, actually, before we do that, hang on. Let's apply the mirror modifier to this gun. And then we will select this. Do Control J. And now that one's sitting there nicely mirrored on this platform. And then you do the same thing on this other platform. You get the idea. There we are, and that's that one there. Let's move this a little bit farther out like so the guns can really point down without hitting the base that they're sitting on. Kind of think I had these two back a little bit far. Let's see here. Yeah, they're okay. Yeah, these could be farther towards the end, but we'll do that. You could also do a thing where these things are like hanging down in a harness and they're just rotating from above if you don't want to do anything this bulky, but you get the idea. All right, and once again, we apply the mirror modifier on this gun, and then we select both, Control-J, and now that's that one. So that takes care of those big guns right there. So the next thing we're going to do then are the other guns, these smaller, less sci-fi looking things. Oh, and there's another one. This third one goes up here, and you just put a recess in here on the top, and I think I've already done that. Yes, I did. I put a recess in there already. So this one, we can just take this here. Okay, again, got to scale this thing down. Go to numpad 7 here, see where we are. And once again, apply the mirror modifier on this gun. Control-J, and there you go. Now you have your guns for the biggies. And they're all one object, so there you go. So that's how you do, and I should have probably duplicated the gun one more time so that I'd have one for an asset library I'm creating, but yeah, I'll do that later. Okay, so that's how you get those guns onto the ship, and that's how I did that. Right, and I did scale this in a little bit more, but okay, you get the idea. You can touch that up later if you want to. The next thing we're going to do is these other guns. And these guys here, which have the shading errors because I forgot to apply the edge split modifier when I did them. So there you go. So that's going to be the first gun we're going to do. The next guns are going to be the same of these, and we're going to show you how I did the main guns. If you know how to do these, you can definitely do the main guns because all they are is a cylinder. So that's the first gun. The next two guns are coming up.